that's okay. Just today, because we're going to show like 40 minutes of movie clips. So we'll be showing you movie clips, and then like how we did for the Matrix, we'll also have some discussions. So please pay attention while we're showing the movie clips. Okay. The first thing is, so this is a journey towards truth. I don't know if you can all see this, but it says here, so it says here live, and then in the bottom you says on the air, unaware. You can see that in the bottom. On the air, unaware. So what is happening, very briefly, is that this particular person, his name is Truman. Okay? So right from birth till he's about 30, he's completely in a big set, in a big movie set. The movie set is as big as a town. It's as big as a town, and everything there is controlled. The sun rising is controlled, the moon rising is controlled, and right from birth, this particular person is being shot by cameras, and the whole world outside is watching him. Isn't it an interesting concept? So right from, and he's not aware. So everybody, his wife, his mother, are all actors. Everyone are actors in this particular movie. Okay, so this is a movie where he discovers the truth. And what is the truth? The truth, I'll tell you the answer now itself, is that everything around him is fake. Because that's how he discovers. Okay? So now, the first thing is, this is a journey towards truth. Now, truth, I just mentioned, has two aspects. The first thing is that it can light the path. The truth can show the light, right? And light the path. The second aspect about truth is that it can warm the heart. Okay? So these are two aspects of truth. So typically, when we talk about truth, we just talk about lighting the path, or just showing some light, or showing some philosophy, and things like that. But is that always enough? Of course, that is important. But the other aspect of truth is that it warms the heart. So given a choice, which one would you pick? Would you pick that lights the path, or would you pick that warms the heart? What do you think, Vishal Prakash? We're just going to have a discussion.
That's a tough question.
Or would you pick both? Both is also fine.
Yeah, I would pick both.
Pick both. Anyone else? Which one do you think influences more? And I can give you examples. Do you think the truth that warms the heart influences more than the truth that lights the path? Which one do you think influences more?
I think it's the one which warms the heart.
One which warms the heart. That's your perspective. Anyone else? If someone keeps dumping philosophy all the time at you and doesn't connect with you at a heart level, will you tend to take it seriously? So both are important, but the one that influences more is the truth that warms the heart. And I'll give you that as a hint, and I'll ask you to identify that in these clips, okay? So what makes Truman identify or go towards this truth, which is actually warming his heart? Okay, that's the first thing. And the second thing is, he says that it feels like the whole world revolves around me somehow. How many of us have felt that in our lives? That the whole world revolves around us. I am the controller. So after this movie was released in 1998. After this movie was released, something very interesting happened. They came up with a delusion called Truman delusion. You can Google this later. It's a psychiatric disorder where people start thinking that they are in the center of the whole universe and everything is revolving around them. And they had to be given psychiatric treatment to treat this delusion. Okay, we'll come to that. Now, so again, just very briefly before we show the first clip, this entire movie is a TV show where people could just turn on the channel and watch what Truman is doing. And Truman is unaware that he's live on air. Okay? Right from birth, right from when he's in the womb, he's completely shot on cameras. In that entire big setting, there were 5,000 cameras. Okay, 5,000 cameras, and all the actors had small cameras on their shirt buttons or everywhere around there were cameras. But he never knew that he was being watched. Every single scene of his life was actually captured, and the whole world was watching it. Okay, that's the whole thing. So now what I want you to do is think of yourself as the director or the creator of this whole set. For the next 1 hour or so, think of yourself as the creator of this set, and then Truman is your star. Okay, he's in this big set. Okay. Now somehow, so what is your ultimate goal? You're making profit, right? You're making profit. You're the director, and people are like millions of people are watching this. So what is your goal?
Please those million people.
How will you please those million people?
Keeping the illusion going.
Yes.
Truman's illusion.
Truman's illusion going. How?
Show them what they want.
No, but show them like what?
Like the million people like what the majority like. So just keep directing that way.
So Truman is the reason why he's called Truman is because he's the only true man. Everything else is fake. Okay? He's the only true man. Everything else is fake. So what can the director, if I am the director of this and I want to keep this going, you're right in one sense, keep the illusion going, but what does that mean? Just one more step. Yes?
Put him through tests.
Put him through tests.
I mean, like put him through situations. Design situations which he has to go through and see how he reacts to it.
Okay, how will that help?
I mean, you're creating drama.
Okay, let me change my question a little bit. What is it that you don't want as a director?
You have to realize that it's an illusion.
Huh?
For him to find out that
Yes.
it's
Yes, you'll do whatever it takes to keep him in this setting. Does that make sense? You'll do whatever it takes to keep him in that setting. Are you all following so far?
Yeah.
So that is what we call as Maya. Maya will do whatever it takes to keep us in this world. Okay, that is the connection that I want to give before we start on how this world is also an illusion. We'll come to that later, but we'll start with the first clip now where this whole character is introduced. You can reduce the light completely.
We've become bored with watching actors give us phony emotion. We're tired of pyrotechnics and special effects. While the world he inhabits is in some respects counterfeit, there's nothing fake about Truman himself. No scripts, no cue cards. It isn't always Shakespeare, but it's genuine. It's a life. We find many viewers leave him on all night for comfort.
Well, for me, there is no difference between a private life and a public life. My life is my life. It is the Truman Show. The Truman Show is a lifestyle. It's a noble life. It is a truly blessed life.
It's all true. It's all real. Nothing here is fake. Nothing you see on this show is fake. It's merely controlled. There for his birth. 220 countries tuned in for his first night. The room soaked in technology. An entire human life recorded on an intricate network of hidden cameras and broadcast live and unedited 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to an audience around the globe. Enclosed in the largest studio ever constructed, and along with the Great Wall of China, one of only 2 man-made structures visible from space. Now, in its 30th great year, it's the Truman Show!
What a week it's been. I don't know about you. I was on pins and needles the entire time. Hello, and good evening. I'm your host, Mike Michelson, and welcome to True Talk, our forum for issues growing out of the show. But tonight, something very special interview. A rare and exclusive interview with the show's conceiver and creator. So, come with us now as we go live to the Lunar Room on the 221st floor of the Omnicam Ecosphere. That's where we'll find the world's greatest televisionary, the designer and architect of the world within a world that is Sea Haven Island, Crystal. Before we begin, I'd like to thank you on behalf of our audience for granting this exclusive interview. We know how demanding your schedule is, and we all know how jealously you guard your privacy. This, sir, is indeed an honor.
Don't mention it.
Well, let's take some of those viewer phone calls. Charlotte, North Carolina, you're on with Christoph.
Hi, Christoph. I was just wondering how many cameras you got there in that town.
Somewhere in the vicinity of 5,000.
Oh, that's a lot of cameras.
Remember, we started with just one. He was curious from birth. Premature by 2 weeks. It was almost as if he couldn't wait to get started.
And of course, his eagerness to leave his mother's womb was the very reason he was the one who was elected.
In competition with 5 other unwanted pregnancies, the casting of a show determined by an air date, Truman was the one who arrived on cue.
Incidentally, I believe Truman is the first child to have been legally adopted by a corporation.
That's correct.
Why do you think that Truman has never come close to discovering the true nature of his world until now?
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
Okay. So, how did you like that? Isn't it interesting? Any thoughts? Anything that struck you in this first clip?
Nature is very grand at the same time it's very unrealistic. Think about it.
Very unrealistic. Okay. Anyone else? Anything that struck you? Huh?
It's a very creepy thought.
Very creepy thought. Okay. Anyone else?
They're saying it's the true life, but it isn't.
Yeah. He's the only true man in the whole setting. Yeah.
But again, he is controlled by the actors, right?
He's you will see. He's partly controlled, but partly not, which is exactly what the philosophy also says. But we'll come to that. Anyone else? Anything else? What is the name of the place? Did anybody catch it? What is the name of the town?
Sea Haven.
Sea Haven Island. Good. You were paying attention. Yes, Megha.
Nothing, like only the last part, the last line stuck me. Like, for us, reality is what we are presented with.
Perfect. I was hoping that somebody would catch that. Thank you. That is the essence of this clip. So whatever is presented to us, we think that is reality. So whatever we see around us, because it's presented to us in a certain way, we think that this is reality. There is nothing beyond this. So now I'm going to go back 2,400 years ago. Can anybody guess which philosopher existed at that time? 2,400 years ago. Philosopher. And it is said that all philosophical thoughts came from this one person. After Socrates, who?
Plato.
Yes. So, 2,400 years ago, Plato came up with this famous allegory. It's called the allegory of the cave. How many of you have heard this? You heard this? Please tell us, what is it about? If you know. I don't want to put you on the spot.
The basic idea is that if someone grows up looking at just one wall of a cave and all that's projected on the wall is like some shadows by a light source behind and they're not allowed to turn back,
yes.
Then like in their view the entire world just consists of such shadows and all, and they would not suspect that there's actual objects projecting these shadows.
And also they will not suspect that there's actually a real world outside.
Yeah.
Okay. So now this was, even though it was written 2,400 years ago, there have been several people who have commented on this. There are several books written on this, several movies made on this single concept, and this particular movie, Truman Show, is also based on this particular concept. Okay. So this is the allegory of the cave. Now, if you see here carefully, so these are the people who are sitting here chained. Okay. There's a wall behind them, and then you see the shadows. Those are the images that are being projected to these people. And they're all chained, by the way. That's also an interesting thing. They're all chained. Anytime they can remove the chain and come out if they want to. But they're so bound that they keep looking at those shadows. And how are the shadows coming? You see those people in white? They're actually moving things and showing them the shadows. Okay? And now, apparently what happens is, one man, you see him climbing out. He climbs out and he goes to the real world, and then he sees everything. He sees the real bird, he sees the real horse, he sees the real tree, which he thought were real when he was there. And then he gets excited. I'm seeing the real things here, I must go back and tell my friends. Right? So he comes back into the cave and he starts explaining everything to his friends. And because he comes back and it's really dark, the light was off when he came back. So he's almost like blinded, because suddenly he comes in and then he sees that the fire light, right? So he's blinded. So his eyes are like completely, he's blinded. And then his friends start telling him that if you went to the real world and you're coming back now and you're blinded, we don't want the real world. We don't want the real world. We're just happy being here. And no matter how much he says, no, that is amazing, it's a wonderful place, it's the real world, they still say, no, we're just happy doing what we are. And then they start completely abusing him and yelling at him, and he gets depressed. And in fact, it is mentioned, I was reading a lot about this. So Plato's guru was Socrates. And Socrates was abused exactly like this. When he started talking about the truth, everybody kind of brushed him off to the extent that he was split. Okay? So this is the allegory of the cave. There have been so many, as I said, theses written on this. So many people have written so many graphics. I mean, it's the same allegory in different ways. And as I mentioned, there are also movies. So The Matrix is one of them that we covered last time. It's also based on this. The Truman Show, The Dark City, The Cube, The Conformist. These are all movies that are based on this one concept. Okay? So we looked at the introduction, and then, as Megha pointed out, we accept the reality of the world with which we are presented. It's as simple as that. He takes this one concept, the director, and he makes use of this whole thing. The name of the director is Christoph. Comes from the word Christ. But Christ off, which means he's not actually God, but he's like off God, because he's actually trying to control something and control the willpower of somebody and just let them stay there, but he's not actually God. So he's off God. And we'll discover more and more about him. Okay. The next thing is, I don't know if somebody caught this, it is said that it is a story of a man who wakes up to the truths of his reality. A reality of illusions. So everything that he sees around him is illusion, but he thinks that it is reality. Okay. The next thing is, somebody also mentions in this first clip, nothing is fake, but everything is controlled. By the way, the first girl who says that there's no private life, public life, that's his wife. And the second person who's interviewed is his best friend. And he actually says this, nothing is fake, but everything is controlled. Okay? So everything is controlled means there's a director who's controlling every act, every move, everything that they should speak, everything is controlled. Okay? And the third thing, which none of you pointed out, is that on the ethical side, do you think this is right? Why? Why do you think this is not right, Vishal? Or because Kishore? Why
Because you are recording someone's thing without his permission, and you're making him go through experience which he would have gone through without your permission. So you're actually not you're intruding into his own rights.
You're intruding into his own life. Anyone else? And I'll prove it to you that we are also in the same thing in other ways. Yes. Yes.
We are sort of like destroying his life for the entertainment of others.
Exactly. So. Perfect. So he is a guinea pig used for the world's entertainment. So people knew, there were all kinds of people watching. There were old people watching, young people watching. everybody were watching this. They knew it was unethical, but they still couldn't stop from watching it. They still couldn't stop doing it. They knew it was unethical, like torturing, almost like a prisoner. You know, he was put like a prisoner, but still they couldn't stop watching it. Okay, so those were some points that I got from this clip, and of course I mentioned this. So true man equals true man. Now let's think about our world. So every clip, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the clip, discuss some points from the clip. I'm going to talk about some points from the clip and also talk about our life. Okay. Now the question is, are we monitored? Now remember, there were so many cameras in his town. Are we monitored? How?
I mean, just like if we take social media, for example.
Yes.
There's every step, like every status update that you put out there is recorded, being recorded.
Interesting, yeah. Yeah.
And like even, let's say a person is born, like if you have a baby and then you take a picture. So like in one sense, we're almost like sometimes doing the same thing.
Exactly.
That we're not asking, permission of this person because they're not,
yes,
old enough to understand what's going on there.
So what you're saying is that whatever happens in our life, we ourselves are doing it without someone else having to do it. That is one aspect, right?
Yeah.
Now what I'm asking is slightly different. Now what I'm asking is, are we monitored? Is someone monitoring us? Let's say I don't put anything on social media, I'm not on Facebook, let's say I don't do anything, but I'm a monitor. Yes?
No, so I don't have answer yet. Because you changed, like if we don't have social media.
Okay.
So
I'll come to social media, but without social media, let's say, are we monitored?
Yeah.
Yes.
How?
Like CCTV cameras.
Yes. Anything else?
The government, they has a mission.
GPS.
Paramount. Okay, yes, we'll come to that. So I'm talking material. I'll put in parentheses materially, but I'll come to spiritually later. But let's materially, how are we monitored? CCTV, GPS,
roommates,
spouse, roommates, spouse. Okay.
Cultural norms.
Spouse. That's interesting. Yes. Sorry.
Cultural norms and stuff, like people around us are expecting something.
Okay. So these are, so just like how there were cameras in his life, we are also, dear friends, being monitored every single moment. CCTV, someone mentioned, Google Maps, spying satellites, infrared cameras. So let's say you get lost today somehow. They can track you in no time. They can find your exact location in no time. Okay? Anywhere on this planet, if you're lost, they can track you. Okay? It's that sophisticated right now. Now, another question. Are we monitored today, but not on a material sense, but on the spiritual sense? Are we monitored today? Of course, Nitya mentioned Paramatma, but is there anyone else who's monitoring us? On the spiritual sense? Huh? Yamraj, yes. Yamraj is one of the 9 sakshis, or 9 witnesses. So who else is monitoring us? And these are the witnesses that you will have to face. You might think that, okay, I'm alone in my room, nobody's watching, but there are witnesses, and these 9 witnesses cover everything. So what are those 9 witnesses? Yamraj is one of them. Yamraj is the Lord of Death. Yama.
Sun and moon.
Huh?
Sun and the moon.
Sun and the moon, yes. Sun and the moon. Anything else?
Brahma.
No. Brahma, Vayu, no. Just think of around you. What is something is monitoring you?
Earth itself.
Earth itself? Okay. Anything else? I'll put the shloka also here so that you all know later.
I know the answer, but I don't want to give it.
You know the answer? Okay. Okay, one more thing.
Senses.
Senses? No, senses, you're part of it, right? Like senses don't monitor you. Something external to you is monitoring you at all times. Okay, I'll give the answer, okay? So these are the 9 witnesses. So earth, somebody said earth, water, air, fire, space, the sun, the moon, Yamaraj, or the god of death, and time. Okay? So this is the verse in case you want to see.
I
So,
thought The 8 directions.
Oh, the 8 directions also?
I don't know.
Yeah. I
may be wrong.
Yeah, so this is the verse I found, and I found several references. So Surya, Soma, Yama, Kalo, Mahabhutani, Panchasa. So it talks about these 5 things. So earth, water, air, fire, space, and then sun, moon, Yama, and time. Okay. So these are, on the spiritual sense also, we are being monitored by these things. Okay. Now the next question is, are we controlled? Monitored is one thing. Monitored is somebody is just looking at us, right? They're not doing anything to us. Now, are we controlled in this world?
To a certain extent.
How? Give me some practical examples on the material sense. So the reason why I specifically chose this movie is that it is more relevant today than it was in 1998.
Yeah.
It is more relevant today than it was in 1998.
Just
So how are we controlled?
Just for example, like
Yes.
if you're navigating somewhere,
Yeah.
for example, the map doesn't show you the closest path, but shows you a little longer path. We would like watch the map and we would take the longer path. Like if we didn't use the map, we would still take the shorter path.
Okay, so you're saying in one sense the map actually controls us by taking us on the wrong route, whatever.
Yeah.
On a route. Okay. That way we are controlled. But there's other interesting ways.
Like propaganda. Advertisements actually, to be very
Advertisements.
simple. Yeah.
Yes.
They
are controlled by advertisements. Yes. But advertisements were there in 1998 also. Something specific is happening now. By which,
like
yeah.
Like listen to your voice and stuff, and like Google kind of gives you.
Yes. What were you going to say?
In general, like psychologically we can control people. Like for example, if someone is enraged, so Facebook is using like emotions basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here is what I can tell you. So recently, just last week, I wanted a new mattress, okay? Because I'm having some lower back pain, I wanted a new mattress. So me and my wife were talking. Of course, we have Alexa, we have iPhone, everything at home. We didn't Google anything, we were just talking, and I want a mattress. I go to my computer, I open my computer, and then I just open Google. Immediately on the right, I'm seeing mattress ads.
Oh, you didn't Google it?
I didn't Google it at all.
This happened to me multiple
Several people have told me this.
Yeah.
Several people have told me this. If they have the Facebook app open or Alexa or something, it is so advanced right now that immediately I started seeing all kinds of mattress ads everywhere, wherever I opened, I was seeing mattress. I was completely controlled.
So even I was talking to my friend about a skiing trip on the phone, and then like after I cut, I was just scrolling to Instagram and I saw skiing trips like that.
Yeah, immediately. And I've also seen other things like trips and other things. Immediately it starts showing to you. Immediately you're controlled. Yes.
Actually, not just that. Like I got on LinkedIn, like suggested contacts, my boyfriend's housemate.
Okay.
Nothing is in common. Like it was crazy.
Yes. Yes. So, dear friends, whether you know or not, everything that you're speaking is being recorded. If you're having a fight with your spouse, everything is only few of us are married here, but if you are having a fight, even that is being recorded, and probably some therapist also will be advised to you. So things like that are being controlled. Okay. So now this particular person, Truman, was also controlled. Okay. This particular person, Truman, was also controlled. Maybe we'll come to this later. So there are certain ways. Now, what is the agenda of the director? What is the agenda of the director? As I said,
To keep the show going.
to keep the show going. But how does he keep the show going?
Not let him mind.
So typically, a man would want to explore, right? Like explore, go places, go here, go there. So what should they do as a director? I told you that put on your director caps. So what can you do to keep him there?
Provide whatever he
Yeah, expand and
Provide whatever he needs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Show him outside world is bad.
Show him outside world is bad. Okay, good. Show him outside world is bad. Provide whatever he needs. But still, he has a desire to travel, to go in a plane.
Don't show him planes, don't show him cars. It's just
That's going to be tough. Okay. Anything else that we can do? there's one interesting thing that happens which is also binding us here in this world. Yes?
Tell him that it's very dangerous.
Yes. Introduce the fear factor. Introduce the fear factor which will prevent that person from wanting to explore. Which is exactly true in our case also. We are fearful, some of us are fearful to even explore a path that is alternate reality to this reality. Does that make sense? So in this particular thing, because he has a desire to explore, all his radio ads, everything kept saying, you are in paradise. Sea Haven Island is paradise. You don't have to go out. That's in the radio. Okay? In TV, he says, show me a way back home. They keep showing him episodes where they keep telling him that you must just be home. Just go back home, go back home. You don't need to explore. And then in school also, his teacher is saying, everything has been explored. There's nothing else left to explore. Okay? You'll see these clips, but I'm just telling you that this is how he was controlled with the fear factor. Okay? Now, also, some of you mentioned this, how we are controlled. We are controlled by mass media, by news, and everything. Consume, 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 obey, 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 buy this, confirm this, do this. Yes, everything is completely controlling us all the time. And in this regard, I did mention that there is a delusion. So one thing that the director can do is to make that person feel that he's in the center of the universe and he has complete control. He has complete control. So this is the Truman Show delusion, where he started, it's a syndrome actually, even now this is being treated, where some people think that they are in the center and everything in the world is revolving around them. It's revolving around them, and because of that, they start getting some kind of delusion. You know, oh my God, this person is doing this because I'm here. Everything is happening because of me. You know, yes?
Isn't that true for most of us?
Yes, it is true for most of us. This is our exact, all of us to a certain extent or the other have this delusion. And this delusion comes because of ego. I, me, mine. Because you have that I, me, mine mentality, you start thinking that you are the center. And what that ego does very interesting is that it tends to keep you in that position all the time. Because as long as ego keeps you in that position, there won't be ego deaths. So what I mean is, so if you want to explore, or if you want to explore something outside of your reality, you have to transcend the ego. Okay? Which means you'll have to kill the ego. You have to go higher than the ego. Right? But the ego doesn't want that. So the ego also plays a part and keeps saying that, yes, you are the center, you are the center, everything's happening because of you, you are the controller, you are the center. This is the delusion. Okay? So now we'll play the next clip. And please pay attention to the next few clips.
Kirk started this whole crisis in Truman's life when he came to the conclusion that he was the only one who could end it.
Truman! Truman! No! That's off limits!
Why? What's over there?
Nothing. It's dangerous, that's all. You've got to know your limitations, Truman.
But let's remind viewers of exactly why Dad was written out in the first place.
As Truman grew up, we were forced to manufacture ways to keep him on the island.
I like to be an explorer, like the great Magellan.
Oh, well, you're too late. There's really nothing left to explore.
Finally, I came up with the concept of Kirk's Drive.
Most of it. Truman's been terrified of the water ever since.
Good morning!
Morning! Good morning!
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Yeah. Morning, Truman! Morning, Spencer! Hey, Pluto. No. Get him! Keep on straight. Get down! Yeah, I know. It's me. Come on, Pluto.
fell down.
Yes, the sun is also gated.
Lord save Burbank. Got a prospect in Wells Park I need you to close.
Wells Park? On Harbor Island?
You know another one?
Well, I can't do it. I have an appointment. Dentist. Yeah.
You're gonna lose a lot more than your teeth if you don't meet your quota.
True. We're making cutbacks at the end of this month. Yeah. You need this.
You know, I'm thinking about getting out, Marlon.
Yeah? Out of what?
Out of my job. I'm Steve. Off this island out.
Out of your job? What the hell's wrong with your job? You have a great job, Truman. You have a desk job. I'd kill for a desk job. Here you go. You should try stocking vending machines for a living.
No thanks.
Now there's excitement.
Don't you look at me and see itchy feet.
Where's it to go?
I don't like the look of that weather, son. I think we should head back. No, come on, we should go back. No, listen. Okay.
You and Marlon get together.
We can bum around the world for a year on that.
And then what, Truman? We'd be where we were 5 years ago. You're talking like a teenager.
I mean, I feel like a teenager.
We have mortgage payments, Truman. We have car payments. But we're just going to walk away from our financial obligations?
Adventure.
I thought we were going to try for a baby. It's not enough of an adventure.
I can wait. I want to get away. See some of the world. Explore.
You want to be an explorer.
This'll pass. We all think like this now and then.
And it's another beautiful day in paradise, folks. But don't forget to buckle up out there in Radio Land. We now have good driver. Good. Driver, good driver. Good.
He's heading west on Stewart. Stand by our lectures. We'll be on you in about 90 seconds. Pops, make sure the coffee's on. Okay, he's making his turn on the Lancaster Square.
Ouch. Sorry about that, folks. I guess we picked up these frequencies. It sometimes happens and it can drive you crazy. Okay, it's classical flight back in here, and we've still got some great music up ahead. Hey, we have to buckle up. Remember safety. Good driver is a safe driver. Safe driver is what? Yes.
now, there were so many clips that we took and we combined everything, so Vishal did it. So there were some fears that were put on his life, and there were some clues also that he got to make him realize that there is something else going on, or there's some other reality out there. What were some of the fears? What are some of the phobias that were introduced right from childhood? Water. So why did they have to introduce the fear of water?
Doesn't swim.
Huh?
So that he doesn't swim across.
Doesn't swim, and most importantly, that he just stays in that island. So there is no way that he can come out of the island, and to do that, they have to introduce fear. And how did they do that? They did it in a very impactful way.
His father's death.
His father's death. His father's death happened, and he was guilty also. He was made guilty. We didn't show that, but he was made guilty that he caused it. So this is a huge fear, a huge phobia. Why did they do that phobia? So that he can remain in that island. That is one thing. Water. Anything else? There's one more big phobia that was introduced. Fear of heights. Because he was not able to climb. Yeah, he was trying to climb. There's one more.
Fear of dogs.
Fear of dogs. You remember that scene where, as a child itself, he wanted to go somewhere, but immediately they introduced a dog. And that fear kept coming up again and again. Whenever they wanted him not to go to a certain place, just release a dog. Okay, those are fears. Now, what about clues? What clues did he see which made him realize that?
Overhearing the radio.
The lamp. The lamp falling down. What else?
The radio.
The radio. The radio actually started telling him everything, that you're taking a left, and that was a big hint. Anything else?
Everybody stopping at the same time.
Everybody stopping at the same
frequency.
Due to frequency. Okay.
He saw the set in the end. He saw chairs. And
He saw in the elevator. Behind the elevator, some people were just sitting. You know, and that was not his office. So he just started exploring, going to other buildings, and he found this elevator. And there's nothing behind it. That's another hint. Any other clues? Okay, so I'll just tell you all the things that I found. Okay, so fears was fear of dog. Somebody mentioned dog. Fear of drowning. Those are the fears. And then fear of exploring outside the box. He was always prevented from exploring outside the box. Okay, so now in our life, now here's the contrast that I want to bring again. Okay, in our life, what are our fears? You can be honest. You can tell what is the fear that you have. What is the phobias that you have? And then I want you to question why those phobias exist. What fear do you have?
Fear of society?
Yes. Current rule.
Yeah, fear of being like rejected by close, not being accepted basically.
Not being accepted. Okay. Good point. Okay. Sorry, Rishi.
Fear of society?
Fear of society. Can you elaborate a little bit?
Like what others will think about us.
What others will think about me. Yes. Wonderful point. Wonderful point. Anyone else? Yes.
Fear of being dominated.
Fear of being dominating or fear of being dominated?
Being dominated.
Dominated. Fear of being dominated. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Some basic fears.
Fear of failure.
Fear of failure. Fear of failure. Anything else?
Fear of losing out on something.
You're all not talking about one big fear that we all have. Yes?
Uncertainty.
Uncertainty. Fear of uncertainty.
Like for example, fear of being lost if I tread a new path.
Fear of being lost. Okay. Okay. These are all valid.
Fear of death?
Yes. Yes. Fear of death itself. Right? Ultimately, we are all fearful of death. Even animal species. One thing that is common is they're all fearful of death. Okay. So some of the things that I could come up with is, of course, fear of death. Fear of disease, especially these days. Fear of disease. Fear of losing relationships. Nobody mentioned this. Fear of losing relationships. Fear of losing job. What happens if my job is taken away today? Fear of financial crisis. These are all big fears that we have. Okay? Now it is individual of why these fears exist in our lives. Okay? It could be that some of these fears exist to keep you bound here. Like, I'll give you one example. So let's say fear of losing job. I'll just pick one. Okay? And this is not a general thing, I'm just telling you specifically for this. So I have this fear of losing job, so I completely get caught up in this job. I'm obsessed about this job, right? What does that do? It captivates you, it controls you. And you will have no time to explore something outside. So in one sense, these fears bind you. But on the other sense, I mean, this is slightly philosophical, each of these things can actually liberate you also. Like fear of death, you can be so obsessed, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, oh, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. You get caught up in that. But that fear can also be healthy and that can liberate you also. Okay, so each of these things have both. Now coming to clues. Clues, some of you mentioned light falling, radio, we saw. Now what about clues in our life? What are the clues that are given in our life? So we talked about the fears in our lives. There are certain clues that keep coming in our life to keep reminding us that this is not everything. Just like Truman, this is not everything. Any clues that come in our lives?
Like other influential people. Say for example, I'm in a job.
Yeah.
And I want to be, say I want to be a photographer or something. But like I'm still stuck with this job because I think this is the way to go. But I see other influential people like photographers who are doing really well.
Okay.
That could be like a clue. Like you can still succeed in that way.
So clue, I'm talking about clues which will tell us that this world is an illusion. Okay. That's what I mean. So like how this light falling was a clear clue for him to tell him that this is not everything. There's something else going on. There's some other thing happening. So what clues do we see? Yes?
I mean, one clue could be death or disease.
How?
Because it tells us like we are gonna die. Like life is so short, you know.
It tells us that we are going to die.
So a job like in front of like someone's dying, like it feels so small. Like all our fears, you know. When you experience something like that. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. Anything else? Any other clues in our lives? That is there. That point is there. Death is there. Any other clues? And it's so interesting, dear friends, that we keep seeing these clues, but we just brush it away. We just brush them away. Like as if it's not important at all. A real seeker will go deeper into these clues. Like for example, the light falling, right, in Truman's case, he could have just said, oh, it's some light, I just carry on with my life. But he wanted to go deeper. He wanted to go deeper. When the radio thing started happening, he wanted to go deeper. What is going on? What is going on? He could have just, okay, some radio channel, I just continue. Okay, well, so what if it says Lancaster Street? You know, so what? I just continue with my life. I just go with my job, I just get married, I just have kids, and that's it. But because he wanted to go deeper, he was able to explore that path. So similarly, what are the clues in our lives that we keep seeing on a day-to-day basis?
If I do something wrong, I get a bad result. So that is I don't know if it's a clue, but it's a clue in the sense that I should be doing good things.
Okay. So let me give you one hint, and then we'll take more. Yes?
Any humane thing I feel is a clue, like for example joy, or like as he said, like someone like if someone does good to us, I don't know, that's also a clue that.
It's a clue what?
Clue.
How is it? I mean, that's reinforcing that you are in control, nah? It's not a clue that there's some other alternate reality.
I mean, like the anomalies of life. If I'm being
yes, very good. Talk about anomalies of life.
I mean, like I can do the same action the same way in the same place again, but then the consequences are not the same.
Yeah,
every time.
That is one thing. Yes. Anyone else? One more. Current rule.
Dreams.
Dreams are a clue. Okay. So here are some basic things. Okay, we don't have to even think so deeply. Different births. All of us have different births. Some of us are born rich. Some of us are born poor. Some of us are born healthy. Some of us are born unhealthy. So what about the justice? What about the causation? This is a big hint. This is a big hint that there is something else going on. Okay, that is the first thing. The second thing that I could come up with, why bad things happen to good people. Good things happen to good people, you cannot use that as a hint. But why bad things happen to good people, that can give you a clue. Right? Gives you a clue that there is something beyond this. If everything around me is temporary, why do I feel the need to live eternally? Another big clue. None of us wants to die, but we are seeing death all around us. In very, very short years, all of you are in your 20s. In 50 short years, all of you will be like gone or very old or whatever. 50 pages, very quickly, it will be over. But still, we cannot accept this. We see people dying all around us, and we still think that I am eternal. Where is that desire coming from? This is another big clue. Okay? And that is why, on this particular point, what does Yamaraj say? What is the most amazing thing in this world? That we keep seeing death all around us, but still we think that we'll live forever. That is the most amazing thing. So Yamaraj is like answering this, and he's so bewildered, that we keep seeing death all around us, and still we think we are eternal. How is that? How is that? So these are some clues in our lives. That is why when we get these clues, the first thing we should do is we should question. If we are that seeker mentality, we should question where, when, how, what, who, why. So Vedanta Sutra 1.1.1, it begins with Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now, therefore, one must inquire into the nature of the Brahman, the absolute truth or God. At least just question what is going on. What is going on? So it all starts with questioning the authenticity of our reality. We should all question, at least question. Some of us may not be even tuned to this. I was reading some statistics. About 95% of people on this planet, they don't even question these things. There are very few people who are seekers. They don't even question, okay, this is happening, okay, I'm just going to continue, just get a job, get a green card, get this money, get a house, get a wife, get married, have children, get old, get insurance, and die. That's it. Nothing beyond this. Even though life is throwing so many hints at you, so many hints. Come on, think deep. Go deeper. There's something else going on here. You're in that cave. Come on, think deeper. This is what happens. What we ask determine what we find. If we don't even ask, we will never find it. The first thing is at least ask what is going on. Then you will find it. What we find determines how we talk. How we talk determines how we see our future. How we see our future determines what we achieve. This can be totally true in a material sense also, but in a spiritual sense also this makes a lot of sense. So in one sense, just to summarize, we get more of whatever we focus on. If you focus on lead code, you'll get an internship. If you're focused on something else, you'll get something else. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm saying you get more of what we focus on. So here are some questions that I had when I came on this path. First question was, who am I? So Truman is asking the same question. Who am I? Where am I? What's my purpose? I want to explore. Is that my purpose or is there something else? How did we all get here? Truman is asking this. How did I get here? Where everything is revolving around me. How did I get here? Why is there suffering? And most importantly, how can I escape from this suffering? This should be an important question. I'm suffering right now. I'm having this pain, that, whatever. How do I escape from the pain? Whenever there's suffering, you always think of solutions, right? So why can't we ask this basic question? Is there an alternative reality? Is there some kingdom out there, God's kingdom, where we can all go? Where there's no suffering, where there's no anxiety, where there's just happiness. Is there something like that? Or is it all just some people have written about it? These are things that you should question and you should explore. I'm not saying that you should, I'm just saying that it's something that you can practice if you want to. Okay. So the next thing is exploring the truth. And interestingly, when you start exploring the truth, that is when you will start facing obstacles, and also you'll start facing all the fears that you have. Each one of you mentioned a fear. You will actually, those fears will be shown right at your face. You will start facing those fears. Okay, next. Sorry, we're going to go a little over today. I hope it's okay. Till another 8:30.
You ever think about that, Ron? Like your whole life has been building towards something? No. When you were hauling chickens in the summer for Kaiser, what was the furthest you ever got off the island?
Went all over. Never found a place like this, though. Look at that sunset, Truman. It's perfect. Yeah.
I'd love to, but I'm really late.
What's your rush?
Certainly. There was that elevator disaster downtown. It was on the news last night. This cable just snapped. This elevator, it just plummeted down 10 flights with non-union workers. Just monsters. You know, that building, it's right next door to where you work. Can you imagine if you had been in there? It's not even worth thinking about. Anyway, I have an amputation on one of the young women who was in that elevator. She's very young. It's very sad. Anyway, wish me luck.
I'll cross my fingers.
I'm now making my primary incision just above the right knee.
Nicely done.
This isn't going to be pretty.
I'm sorry to keep you.
Oh, that's okay.
How can I help?
I would like to book a flight to Fiji.
When would you like to leave? I'm sorry, I don't have anything for at least a month.
A month?
It's the busy season. You want to book the flight?
Truman? Honey, are you okay? Get in. Truman?
Flash! I predict that in just a moment, we will see a lady on a red bike, followed by a man with flowers, and a Volkswagen Beetle with a tinted fender.
Truman.
Look! Lady. Flowers. And...
Truman, this is silly.
There it is! There it is! There's the tinted beetle! Yes! Do you want to know how I did that? I'll tell you. They're on a loop. They go around the block. They come back. They go around again. They just go around and around. Round and round.
You know, I invited Rita and Marlon for barbecue on Sunday. I'm going to make my potato salad, and I need you to remind me that we need more charcoal.
Are you listening to a word I'm saying?
You're upset because you want to go to Fiji, is that it? Okay, go. I think you should save for a few months, and then go. There. You happy now? I'm going to go take a shower.
Let's go now. I'm ready to go now. Why wait? Early bird gathers no moss. Rolling stone catches the worm, right?
What are you doing? Let me out there. You're not right in the head. You want to destroy yourself. You do it on your own.
I think I'd like a little company.
Oh, Truman. You knew this would happen. You know you can't drive over water. Just come home where you feel safe.
Give me your hand.
You shouldn't be doing this, Truman. We're breaking the law. Oh, my. Please don't. Oh, Truman. Run for the bridge. Run for the bridge. Run for the bridge. Run for the bridge. Over. Truman, what about that sign?
You're exaggerating. We'll be fine.
Can you believe that? You're on fire!
Okay.
You're on fire!
Just stop. You okay?
Yes!
Wanna do it again?
No! Truman, stop! So, what are we going to do for money when we get to New Orleans?
I have my Sea Haven bank card.
So, what, we're just going to eat into our savings? Is that it? You know, I'm going to have to call your mother when we get there. She's going to be worried sick. I don't know how she's going to take this.
What now?
Looks like a leak at the plant.
Back up! Leak at the plant. They had to shut her down. Is there any way around? Whole area's being evacuated.
Is there anything I can do?
Oh, ma'am. Thank you for your help. You're welcome, Truman. Truman. I don't know what to think, Marlon. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but it feels like the whole world revolves around me somehow.
A lot of world for one man, Truman. Everything's slipping away, and you don't want to believe it, so you look for answers somewhere else. But is, I would gladly step in front of traffic for you, Truman.
And the last thing I'd ever do is lie to you.
And the last thing that I would ever do is lie to you. I mean, think about it, Truman. If everybody is in on it, I'd have to be interested too. I'm not in on it, Truman, because there is no it. You're right about one thing, though. The thing that started all this.
Truman. That's why I came by tonight. Sure, he's got quite a story to tell. Go to him. Button cam 3. Never stop believing. Wide. Curb can 8. My son. Move your closer. Fade up music. And now. Years wasted. Make it up to yourself. You swear it.
Coming back, you'll probably want to watch the movie completely, but it's important to have these discussions. So, did you notice that he was facing some obstacles and fears? And this time, he was not just fearful, but he was trying to overcome them. What were some obstacles that he saw, that he tried to overcome? The bridge, the fire, even in the hospital when they said his wife was in pre-op, he just started going straight through because he knew that there was something else. Anything else? Any other clues that you saw in this?
The
travel agent.
The person slips up, he calls him Truman. The policeman calls him.
The policeman calls him Truman.
And
But
then
what happened to the travel
vehicles
agent?
keep-
The vehicles keep coming back in a loop. What about the travel agency? There's two big clues.
The poster all around.
The posters all around.
Scaring to travel.
Yeah, scaring to travel. It's terrorists, disease, and things like that.
Lightning hitting.
And lightning hitting the plane. These are all hints or clues. Or trying to make sure that he stays there. Trying to introduce fears, clues again and again. So, the journey begins for the truth, for Truman. He's really going into the journey now. So, he's basically going deeper with the clues, which is pretty much what we need to do also. Think about it. And then he starts questioning certain beliefs that he had. Right from childhood, he had certain beliefs. He starts questioning them. And then he starts looking for knowledge. So typically at this point, if you're a true seeker and you are looking for knowledge, you will find a mentor or a guide or a guru who will come and take you to the next step, which is what will be introduced in our next clip. But I just want you to keep in mind that if you're a seeker and you're going deeper, then you will hit points where someone will come in your life who will actually help you take it forward. Okay? So he's looking for knowledge, he's seeking mentors, and he's seeking right-minded association. He goes to his friend, but he's also having doubts about his friend also, right? So obstacles in the movie, I'll just go a little fast here. The obstacles are the current obsessions keep Truman bound. Okay, the TV, and I'm going back home. In the TV also there was ads that you have to go back home and so on. The radio also. The radio ad keeps telling him that you're on paradise, and so on. And then the fire was an obstacle, water was an obstacle, the nuclear plant was an obstacle. These are all obstacles. Relationships. So one thing that his wife keeps telling him is that we must grow our family, we must have a kid. So in one sense, that will also keep him bound. It can also become an obstacle on this particular path, okay? I'm not saying. So what are the obstacles in our lives? Our attachments, our desires. These can actually become obstacles in our lives if they are not used constructively. So now we'll go to the next thing, a mentor or a speaker.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
hands inside the car!
Truman,
Where they want?
listen to me. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows everything you do. They're pretending, Truman. You understand? Everybody's pretending. No. My name's not Laura. Sylvia. My name's Sylvia. Yeah.
Bart, sweetheart, out again. Hey, wait a minute. Who are you? I'm her father. What?
I've never even
Come on,
seen you
sweetie.
before.
Doing it, please, honey.
He's lying.
All right, please.
Truman, please. Don't listen to him.
What's
Everything
going
I've
on?
told you is the truth.
Please.
It's fake. It's all for you.
I don't
And
understand.
this guy and
Come on.
the everything. It's a set.
I don't
It's a
believe.
show. Everybody's
You'll be all
watching
right.
you. Please, don't
Please,
listen to him.
Laura.
He's gonna lie to you. Watch this.
Please.
Turn around.
I really would like to know what's going on.
Please.
We've tried everything. Hypnotism, everything.
Don't listen
Talk
to him,
therapy.
Truman.
Don't worry. Don't
Truman.
worry. You're not the first. You're not the first.
Truman.
She brings all her boyfriends down here.
What's he saying? Truman, he's lying.
Don't worry. We're going to
see you in
Fiji.
school.
Fiji. We're moving to Fiji.
Fiji?
Sylvia! Hey!
So this was a flashback.
Some of it was.
Yeah.
No secret.
The Hague. All right, we've lost that call. Let's go to Hollywood, California. You're on True Talk.
Hi, Christoph. I'd just like to say one thing. You're a liar and a manipulator.
To take a baby and turn his life into some kind of mockery. Don't you ever feel guilty?
I have given Truman the chance to lead a normal life. The world, the place you live in, is the sick place. See Havens the way a woman should be.
He's not a performer. He's a prisoner. Look at him. Look at what you've done to him.
He could leave at any time. If his was more than just a vague ambition, he was absolutely determined to discover the truth. There's no way we could prevent him. I think what distresses you, really, caller, is that ultimately Truman prefers his cell, as you call it.
Okay. So, mentor for a seeker. Mentor need not be someone with a white, long beard, you know. Mentor can be your spouse, your partner, your parent, it could be anybody. In this particular case, mentor happened to be his girlfriend, who told him several truths. What were some of the things that she told him?
You are being watched.
You're being watched.
Everything.
The last two sentences that she said.
Come out of this and
Come out of here. Come out of here. The second one was? Find me. These are two things that she said. Okay? So it need not be that a mentor is a person who keeps guiding you like throughout the process and hand-holding you. It can be someone who can just come into your life, just make one statement and transform your life. Like in our scriptures, we have the story of Bilva Mangal Thakur and Chintamani. So Chintamani actually makes one statement which actually transforms him completely. He was completely in love with her, he was lusty towards her and things like that. And it so happened that it was a very rainy day. He crosses on the ocean, the river in that rain. He holds a dead body thinking that it's a boat. And then he climbs a house holding a snake thinking that it's a rope. All this happens just to see her, his girlfriend. So So he gets into that, he breaks the window, he gets into the house. At that point, she makes a statement. She says that if you had one drop of this love that you have towards me, towards God, you could become the best saint in the world. Right? And that statement he takes and that transforms him. It is mentioned that Chintamani was his guru in his previous life. So it need not be someone who comes and mentors you all the time and completely guides you. It could be someone who just comes into your life, just makes one or two statements and goes away. But still that person holds the role of a mentor. Does that make sense? So we covered this. So mentor in movie and mentor in our life. A mentor is someone who can provide, a loving ear, a gentle nudge in the right direction, and most importantly, friendship. A mentor is someone who is capable of guiding us according to Shastra, and also a person who is practical and understanding. The mentor reveals the right knowledge, shows us the path, and typically has already traveled that path. Okay. And now the last clip we're going to show is overcoming our fears.
Surprise party! Come on, buddy. I got us a six-pack of cold brewskis with our name on them. Come on, pal. Come on, buddy.
Shit. Marvin, find him. He's still in trouble.
Come out, wherever you are.
That's good. Keep fighting.
I know you're in here. I'm going to find you.
Check under the table. Closet, behind you.
Gee. I wonder where he could possibly be.
Long can. Give me a long can. Keep it going. He's got it. Cut transmit! How do we stop him?
Okay, we're going to be accessing the weather program now. So hold on to your hats. You got that? No? I think we're going to want to localize the storm over the boat. You need the coordinates for that.
There's no rescue boat. You wouldn't know what to do.
They'll turn back. Don't be too afraid.
There she blows.
He was born in front of a live audience. Keep running. Increase the wind. Increase the wind! I've been telling you for the last 100 listen. Very close. Capsize. Tip him over. Damn you, Christoph!
You can't. His time is up to the boat.
He's gonna drown. He doesn't even care.
Do it! Do it!
Speak. I can hear you.
Who are you?
I'm the creator of a television show that gives hope and joy and inspiration to millions.
Then who am I?
You're the star.
Was nothing real?
You were real. That's what made you so good to watch. Listen to me, Truman. There's no more truth out there than there is in the world I created for you. Same lies. The same deceit. But in my world, you have nothing to fear. I know
a camera in my head. You're afraid. That's why you can't leave. It's okay, Truman. I understand. I have been watching you your whole life. I was watching when you were born. I was watching when you took your first step. I watched you on your first day of school. The episode when you lost your first tooth. You can't leave, Truman. You belong here. With me. Talk to me. Say something.
Say something, goddammit! You're on television! You're live to the whole world!
Okay. I won't leave the last scene. I won't show the last scene. But what do you think he does? Do you think he'll go back to the world that he was in? Or will he step out?
He'll step out.
Step out?
Yeah.
How many of you think he'll go back to the world? Step out? I hope he will, yeah. So he does step out. So, yeah, so that was the whole thing. And,
so just one thing.
Yes.
When the Christoph, the director, he was ready to even kill.
Yes.
So that is actually not. I mean, that is not analogous to the God that we.
It is not God at all. So Christoph is not God. That's why I said Christoph.
Yeah.
So Maya will do anything to keep you bound here, until the extent of that. She keeps testing you till you die. How eager you are to get out. And then at one point, Maya understands that I can't hold him anymore, and that's when Christoph also says, stop. Did you all see that scene where he says, stop? So till that point, we'll keep getting tested on our fears, and we have to overcome. To get out of this world, there's the escape velocity, right? We have to escape, and it's not easy to get out. We'll all be bound in this world unless we're willing to take that risk. Up to the point of death. That is the eagerness that Krishna also tests us. Are you this eager to come to me? And then when you say that, yes, I am, this is it. I have this deep longing for you, and nothing else in this world can hold me back. Then Krishna says, okay, come. Then Maya also goes back. So Krishna takes. So that's the analogy. So I hope you all liked it. I just want to end with a couple more slides. So in order to see the truth, we must face our fears, like how we saw here. The treasure you seek lies in the cave you fear to tread. So you could be checking all other caves, but the one cave that you're scared to go in, that is where the treasure could be. And finally, he transcends his normal identity and moves on out into the real world. So some parallels from the Bhagavad Gita about alternate reality, Bhagavad Gita 8:20. So Krishna says, yet there is another unmanifest nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. So Krishna is promising us that there is an alternate reality. The second thing that Krishna also says is that how we are bound, like how Truman was bound. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings. Remember I told you that these are two things that can hold you. O son of Kunti, and because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material fruitive actions. So just to summarize, so what should we do? Right? So there are three things or three paths. So one is karma. So you can think of the body, the hands being the path of action, right? So engage in this world. So what karma says is, engage in this world. Use everything in this world for yourself. Use everything. Use everything. So use your hands for everything. Just enjoy. Just enjoy this world. Enjoy this world. That is karma. The other extreme is jnana, which is the head, which is just in the head, the path of cognition, is to renounce the word. So everything is an illusion. I'm not going to use anything. I'm just going to completely renounce the word. I'm going to become a monk. I'm just going to renounce everything. That is the other extreme. So karma is use everything. Jnana is renounce everything. But the path of bhakti says engage both the hand and the head, and it's about the heart. So bhakti is about the heart. Okay? It's the path of devotion. So in the path of bhakti, you have to use your hand, you have to use your head, and you have to use your heart. Not just the hands, not just the head, but use your heart also. So we are not asking you to renounce everything. We are not asking you to give up the word. Use the word, utilize the word, and get out with some devotion to God. That is the path of bhakti. So last thing, this is one of my favorite. This is there in Rudin also. Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. Great. Thank you. So before we start the kirtan, any take-home messages that you got from today's session?
It was a brilliant session.
Anything that you want to take home, that you're going to take home? This is okay. Okay. Isha?
Find your Bhagavad purpose.
That's not the purpose of this session.
Question.
Yes. Yes.
Question your beliefs.
Question your beliefs.
It's not that what I see as reality, what I perceive as reality, what I have analyzed and concluded as reality. Not that it's always the complete explanation to everything. So I need to be open to a possibility beyond myself. Be open to a possibility that there is something beyond.
Yes. Be open to the possibility. There's something beyond. Yes. Good. Yeah, at least be open. Be open. Don't close that completely. Anything else? Yes, Megan.
So the treasure is in the cave that I fear.
It could be. It could be.
I mean, that's a take-home message.
That's a take-home message for you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Anyone else?
Opportunities need to be searched, like clues. They're all need to search for them.
Anything else? One last one, and then we'll stop. So for me, the biggest thing was the last scene, like how he was tested till the very end. So even in our path, even in this journey, we will keep getting tested again and again and again until the point of death. Till you die, you will still have that doubt. Is God there? Is He going to come save me? Is He going to come save me? Is He going to come save me? Till that point, but you still have to keep going, like how Truman never gave up. I'm going to do it. I want to do it. We'll keep going. I'll keep going. Is this all that you can give me? He's telling Maya, right? Is this all that you can throw at me? It's not. I can take more. I can take more. Yes, I can do it. It is said that at the time of death, it's like 20,000 scorpions. The pain of 20,000 scorpions biting you at the same time. That is what is mentioned in the scriptures. 20,000 scorpions biting at the same time. And in that pain, calling out for God is the ultimate test. And we can't do it just at that moment. We cannot do it at that moment. We get so caught up in the pain. Like right now, I'm experiencing some back pain and stuff like that. I'm so caught up in this pain. So don't waste the pain. Use the pain to go towards God. So many times when pain comes, we get so caught up in the pain. But what I'm saying is use that pain also to go towards God. And so when the time comes when 20,000 scorpions are biting you, that time, if you call out, then the Lord will reciprocate. He will come and hold you. So that is the ultimate test. For me, that was my take home. Anyway, so now we can all chant like this in this mood for 10 minutes, and the prasad will be ready. Thank you all so much for participating today. Sorry we went a little over today, but feast is ready. So come.
It was excellent. So the fast beat is a little different. The slow beat you did perfect. In the fast beat it was a little different. It was one. So, slow is that 1, 2, 3.
It's amazing, Akshay.
Yeah, it was excellent.
I didn't even realize that.
Oh, he was good?
Yeah. Kata.
Okay, sit here, ready? Sit here, baby mama. Sit here.
Is it in Bhagavatam? Is it written that the tip of the material world, when you're about to go back to God, and Maya Devi herself comes and tells you that stay, don't worry, I'll make all arrangements.
Yeah. Papa Kumar still says no. And before that, he's tested a lot, right? He's shown all the heavenly planets, one after another. He's shown like something better. Everything he rejects. Everything he says, I don't want this, I don't want this. Even Dhruva Maharaj, right? Like that is clearly mentioned in the Bhagavatam also, how he steps over death's windows.
Because sometimes it's like we, being in this world, we don't even have any idea of the pleasures that are there in the
heavenly
planets.
Yes.
So see, like sometimes I feel we should have an idea, at least in the Shastras, about those pleasures, so that we can say no to those things. Right? Because we might confuse them with spiritual perfection.
Christianity is much more sincere. They talk only about the heavenly religion. They don't talk beyond religions. Am I right?
Then, like, if you put those things in the scripture, you
Yeah,
might get
they get
distracted.
exactly.
You might start meditating
On those things. Yeah.
Might be too much for us to handle.
Anyone else? Prashant, what is your take on?
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So Jitendra asked a question. To further discussion, so like should we question Krishna also, the teachings that he gave?
You should.
Then we will find the answer.
Yeah, there are answers. If you really have a doubt there, you should question. Are all these Vedas true? Is the Bhagavad Gita true? Did Krishna actually speak the Gita? All these things can be questioned. And there are answers. Yeah, there are proofs. The Vedas. I mean, were you in that session when he covered Shabda Pramana?
Yeah.
You were there? Yeah. So, and then the next session is Vedas. I think we should cover that. Maybe next week, should we do?
Please.
My take home is the last thing you said, like at the time of death, like if you really got called God.
That is, it's so difficult, but that's why I said that we just can't wait for that moment of death to do it. Theoretically we can say now, but throughout our life we have to practice.
I don't know about afterlife, but my grandmother, the last thing she spoke was she was like on the ventilator and she wanted to say something, and my aunt, like she was like, Mommiji, what do you want to say?
Throughout her life she was practicing. Otherwise it's
She
not
used
possible.
to wake up at 4 and
wake up at 4 and we have to practice it throughout our life.
So that really.
Thank you for sharing that. Beautiful. Okay.
Similar thing, like my great grandmother, same thing happened. So she also.
So much culture was there, right, in those days?
Yeah.
Like, people were so spiritual. Now we have to show movies and convince people and this and that, even to just be open-minded.
Is it like a clue that there is something?
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the time, that doesn't make sense.
The fact that you said it.
Was it easier then?
It was so much easier also. Life has become very complicated. Life has become very complicated, very convoluted, very lot of distractions. We're not able to focus. For 5 minutes we can't focus. The attention span.
Social media has made sure of
social media and even phones.
1 minute
apps.
attention span.
So, thank you for sharing that. So that's your take. Your take on it.
The treasure you are seeking, like in the cave you did.
No.